Imagine defeating the greatest conqueror on Earth. His empire stretched across continents. Kings surrendered at the sound of his name. Entire civilizations bowed before him. But one queen refused. She did not ask for peace. She did not flee. She rode into battle. And according to one of history's most famous accounts, she defeated Cyrus the Great himself. Her name was Tomyris, the warrior queen who challenged an empire. Long before she became one of history's greatest warrior queens, Tomyris was simply the daughter of the endless steppe. Not in a palace, not surrounded by marble walls or golden thrones, but beneath an endless sky, where the wind never seemed to stop blowing. Welcome to Central Asia, a vast land of rolling grasslands, powerful rivers, and open horizons that stretched farther than the eye could see. This was the home of the Massagetae, a proud nomadic people who believed that freedom was worth more than wealth. Unlike many ancient civilizations, they did not build great cities. Their homes moved with the seasons. Their lives revolved around their greatest treasure, their horses. A child learned to ride almost as soon as they could walk. By the time they became teenagers, they could shoot arrows while galloping across the open plains. For the Massagetae, survival depended on courage, skill, and unity. Women were not expected to stay behind. They hunted, they rode, they fought beside the men. It was in this extraordinary culture that Tomyris grew up. From an early age, she mastered horseback riding. She learned to draw a powerful steppe bow. She trained with the spear and sword. Every sunrise brought another lesson. Every hunt became another test. She was not raised to become a queen. She was raised to become a survivor. And perhaps that made all the difference. As the years passed, her wisdom grew alongside her strength. She learned that a true leader does more than win battles. A true leader protects their people. Beyond the endless grasslands, however, a new power was rising. Far to the south, one king was conquering kingdom after kingdom. His name would soon become known across the ancient world, Cyrus the Great. And before long, his eyes would turn toward the land of the Massagetae. As the years passed, Tomyris became more than a skilled warrior. She became someone her people trusted. Among the Massagetae, a leader was not respected because of wealth or because they wore a crown. Respect had to be earned. A chief had to ride with the people, hunt beside them, fight beside them, and protect every family under their care. Tomyris had done all of that. Her courage inspired the young. Her wisdom impressed the elders. Her calmness earned the loyalty of experienced warriors. Eventually, she married the ruler of the Massagetae. Together, they governed one of the strongest nomadic tribes of Central Asia. But happiness did not last forever. When her husband died, the responsibility of an entire nation fell upon her shoulders. Many ancient kingdoms would never have accepted a woman as their supreme ruler. The Massagetae were different. They judged leaders by their ability, not their gender. So Tomyris became queen, not because she inherited power, but because her people believed she was the strongest person to lead them. Under her rule, the tribe remained united. Trade flourished across the steppe. Their horse archers became famous throughout the region. Their enemies respected them. But beyond the southern horizon, an empire unlike anything the world had ever seen continued to grow. Kingdom after kingdom fell before one man: Lydia, Babylon, Media. One by one, they became part of the Persian Empire. Its ruler had only one direction left to conquer: north, toward the lands of Queen Tomyris. The Persian Empire had become the greatest power the world had ever seen. From the mountains of Anatolia to the deserts of Babylon, King Cyrus the Great had conquered kingdom after kingdom. But one land remained beyond his control: the endless northern steppe, the homeland of the Massagetae. To Cyrus, this was more than another conquest. It would secure the empire's northeastern frontier, protect important trade routes, and add thousands of skilled horsemen to his growing army. But Cyrus knew something important. The Massagetae were unlike the kingdoms he had conquered before. They had no great cities to besiege, no royal capital to capture. They lived across the open plains and fought from horseback with incredible speed. Defeating them by force would not be easy. So Cyrus tried something different. Instead of sending an army, he sent a proposal. Royal Persian ambassadors crossed the great rivers and endless grasslands, carrying magnificent gifts: gold, fine fabrics, jewels, and a message for Queen Tomyris. Cyrus asked her to become his wife. To the outside world, it sounded like an offer of peace, a marriage between two rulers, a union between two powerful nations. But Tomyris saw beyond the beautiful words. She understood that this was not a marriage proposal. It was a political strategy. If she accepted, the independence of her people could slowly disappear beneath Persian influence. Without drawing a sword, Cyrus could gain control of the steppe. So the queen made her decision. She politely but firmly refused. The ambassadors returned to Persia. Cyrus listened silently. His plan had failed. If diplomacy could not win the steppe, perhaps his army could. The greatest empire on earth was now preparing to march against Queen Tomyris. Cyrus the Great had failed to conquer the Massagetae with diplomacy. Now he turned to deception. Instead of attacking immediately, the Persian king prepared a carefully planned trap. His army crossed the great river that separated the two nations. But then, something unexpected happened. The Persians abandoned part of their camp. Rich food covered the tables. Golden cups overflowed with wine. Luxury tents stood untouched. To the Massagetae, it looked as though the Persians had fled in panic. A young commander named Spargapases, the son of Queen Tomyris, led a force of Massagetae warriors into the abandoned camp. At first, it seemed like an easy victory. The warriors celebrated. Many had never tasted Persian wine before. Unlike the Persians, the Massagetae were not accustomed to drinking large quantities of wine. The celebration lasted only a short time. As the warriors became exhausted, the trap was sprung. Hidden Persian soldiers returned from the surrounding hills. The camp was surrounded. Caught completely by surprise, the Massagetae fought bravely, but they were overwhelmed. Many were killed. Others were captured. Among the prisoners was Spargapases himself. When news reached Queen Tomyris, she was devastated. But she did not panic. She sent a message directly to Cyrus. "Release my son, leave my land, and I will allow you to return in peace." It was one final chance to avoid a terrible war. Cyrus ignored her warning. Instead, he kept Spargapases as his prisoner. Soon afterward, the young prince died while in Persian captivity. The queen's sorrow became something far more dangerous: determination. The war had now become deeply personal. Queen Tomyris had given Cyrus one final chance. He refused. Now, there would be no more negotiations. Across the endless plains, both armies prepared for one decisive battle. On one side stood the greatest empire on earth: disciplined Persian infantry, elite cavalry, veteran commanders, thousands of soldiers who had conquered nation after nation. On the other side stood the Massagetae. They possessed no grand cities, no massive fortresses, no endless supplies. But they had something the Persians underestimated: freedom. Every warrior fought to defend their homeland, their families, and their way of life. As dawn broke over the steppe, Queen Tomyris rode before her army. She did not promise wealth. She did not promise glory. She reminded them what they were fighting for. The horse archers tightened their bowstrings, spears were lowered, silence spread across the battlefield. Then the signal was given. Thousands of horses thundered forward across the open grasslands. The Persians answered with disciplined formations. Dust swallowed the horizon. Arrows filled the sky. For hours, the battle surged back and forth. Neither army would yield. Then, Queen Tomyris personally led a powerful cavalry attack against the Persian center. The disciplined Persian lines began to break. Confusion spread across the battlefield. The empire that had conquered nearly the entire known world was suddenly fighting for survival. Before sunset, the impossible had happened. The army of Cyrus the Great had been defeated. One of history's greatest conquerors would never return from the steppe. The victory of Queen Tomyris echoed across the ancient world. For the first time, the unstoppable advance of the Persian Empire had been brought to an end. The ruler who had conquered Media, Lydia, and mighty Babylon would conquer no more. The Massagetae had defended their freedom, but for Tomyris, this was never a battle for glory. It had begun with a mother's grief and ended with a queen's duty. Ancient writers later recorded a powerful story. They claimed that after the battle, Queen Tomyris found the body of Cyrus the Great. She placed his head into a vessel filled with blood and declared, "Drink your fill of blood, for which you have always thirsted." Whether this happened exactly as described or became a legendary tale over time, historians still debate. But the message remained clear. Tomyris wanted the world to remember that ambition without limits can destroy even the greatest conqueror. With Cyrus gone, the Persian Empire did not collapse. His successors continued to rule, building one of history's greatest civilizations. Yet, they never forgot the lesson of the northern steppe. And Queen Tomyris returned to her people, not as a conqueror, but as the queen who had protected their freedom. Her name would survive for more than 2,000 years, a reminder that courage is not measured by the size of an army, but by the strength to defend what is right. History remembers emperors because they built great empires. But sometimes, the greatest heroes are those who simply refuse to surrender. Queen Tomyris didn't fight for glory. She fought for her people, their freedom, and the future of her nation. More than 2,500 years later, her courage still reminds us that true strength is not measured by power, but by the willingness to stand firm when everything is at stake. If you enjoyed discovering the incredible story of Queen Tomyris, please leave a like. It helps more people discover these forgotten legends. And if you love cinematic stories about history's greatest rulers, warriors, and civilizations, subscribe to Storyverse English and turn on notifications. Because next time, we'll uncover another extraordinary true story that changed the course of history. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep history alive.